I was just thinking about this. What name do you suggest? Wife? She should have a name that suits her soft skin. Why don't we name her Laura? Her husband remained silent. Don't you like her, Yulian? What name do you have in mind? Yulian had been motherless since he was 5, but he still remembered her appearance. Her name was Mayra, and he always dreamed that if they had a girl, he would honor her with his mother's name. He waited for Anna to speak before offering his opinion, as perhaps she, too, wanted to name her after someone dear to him. Laura is a beautiful name, Carrot, without a doubt, but I would like to pay homage to my Mama-cha, of whom I have vague memories. Mayra? Ah, why didn't you tell me before, dear Yulian, you had a name and didn't want to express your desire? Let be Mayra, a beautiful name. Thank you, Anna. Then it will be Mayra. The girls stirred in the crib, and they both ran to. Yulian, we need to keep the boys away for a month and buy ourselves some time. Tomorrow, I'll get their clothes ready and let Uncle Lau know. I'm in a bind, because I have to hide the clothes on the clothesline and dry them at night. Nicolau keeps watching me the whole time. If he were a little older, he'd ask you to take him with you to work. The next day, Yulian managed to arrange everything and take his 2 oldest sons to his uncle's farm, a few miles away. The idea pleased the eldest, Yulian. Pavel, who was suffering from being away from his mother, was sad. A month of vacation is nothing. They'll be back soon. It's just for Mommy to rest. Mommy or Mommy? Ed. The next day, they would leave early. Pavel climbed into the cart with tears in his eyes. Anna stood on the road, waving a white handkerchief, until the wagon disappeared. She held little Nicholas by the hand. Thank God, she now had more time for Mayra and could keep her in her room during the day, keeping the door locked. Nicholas wouldn't notice. He was an obedient boy, and anything distracted him. In the evening, Yulian would be back. A month passed. Little Mayra was growing up hidden from the world, but surrounded by affection, especially from Yulian, for a drink widely used in Russia, made from hops and rye. Pound note, Yulian, we need another month to gain enough time so that when our children return, the child will already have been born. I'll postpone their return for a few more days. I'll send word to them today. The mysterious birth had been forgotten, with no word from the neighborhood. Yulian had gone to town several times, but there had been no word, not a hint of a conversation. The only fact was that the daughter of the owner of the Norobod mansion had died suddenly, the victim of a hemorrhage. Rumors spread around the area that the father had beaten his daughter one night, and after that, no one saw her again. Weeks later, the matter was concluded with a private funeral. Everyone remained silent because the owner of the mansion was feared, with a reputation for being very severe, as his employees were severely punished when their work was not done to his satisfaction. His farm was guarded by a pack of dogs, let loose at night, and no one dared approach it, not even the bravest peasant. These events contributed greatly to the couple's silence regarding the girl. Yulian had connected the events that occurred close to the day he found the child. There was a tragic and cruel mystery surrounding that night. 2 neighbors learned of Anna's pregnancy and visited her on that cool May afternoon when the scent of acacia trees filled her Isba 6. The conversation between the 3 women continued tiresomely, and the visitors tried at all costs to extract details of the unexpected pregnancy from the hostess. Anna dodged, trying not to be rude. Their constant observations of her appearance eventually wore poor Anna out. How your belly has grown in these 2 months. The last time we saw you, there was no sign of it. How long have you been pregnant? Anna, with her back turned, fiddled with the Samovar 7, trying to get rid of the questions, changing the subject. But the 2 insisted, and she was forced to invent a story, not knowing for sure if it would convince them or only serve to increase their suspicion. I'm sorry, Mrs. Irina Alexandrovna, but since my last birth, I've been so out of control that I've never known exactly when my period started. It's something that escapes me, so I don't know. The 2 women looked at each other and, as experienced midwives, recognized a pregnant woman, as they would a hen's egg. Countless children had come into the world through their hands. In the absence of a doctor nearby and because of the distance and difficulty of travel, they were the ones caring for the women in labor. They clearly suspected that Arma was hiding something from them. Arma, to get rid of them, and before they offered to help her as midwives, told them, Yulian went to town just to get the doctor. My pregnancy is high risk, requiring no other intervention. Do you understand? The two women took her words almost as an insult and immediately stood up, examining Arma from head to toe as if she were a rare specimen. We don't want to interfere in the couple's decision, but there's no need to go so far when resources are knocking at your door. Besides, a birth in the city is far more expensive than our services. 5-1 Russian peasant. Considered a slave until 1860. Ed. Note. 6 small wooden house widely used by Russian peasants. Ed. Note. 7A type of kettle used in Russia, with a central tube containing live coals, designed to boil and keep water hot for domestic use, especially for making tea. Ed. Note. The eldest muttered something, picked up her large sheepskin coat, and quickly turned toward the door. Come on, Nastasia. Take care, Arma Ivanovna. Have a good day, ladies. Breathing a sigh of relief, Arma couldn't believe they had finally left. She murmured happily, Why didn't I think of that before? Praise God, I got away with it. They almost found me without the belly pad. And if they wanted to grope me, my God, I don't even want to think about it. Seeing the two Petrovist midwives turning the corner, she sat down in the chair, almost shouting to the small icon 8 that watched everything on the small table, lit by a candle. My God! Free me from this lie as soon as possible. I swear I will deliver this girl prematurely. Another month. I can't stand it. Help me, my Saint Nicholas. A new surprise was yet to come, adding to Anna's suffering. And Olga, Uncle Nicholas's wife, couldn't resist the pleasant news of another birth in the family, and decided to accompany Yelena to his house to help her niece. Yulian did everything he could to stop her, claiming it wasn't necessary to travel so far, because he had hired a woman to do the housework. He couldn't dissuade her, and his pleas and excuses were in vain. Pavel was beside himself with joy upon receiving the news of his return home. For him, it had been a month of suffering, the one he'd spent away from his mother, despite the pampering his aunt and uncle provided and the variety of outings they provided. However, his beloved mother was his greatest joy. With her, yes, was his true place. Yulian was determined to go ahead and prepare Arma to welcome the new guest. No matter how much he justified his decision, his uncles were not satisfied. They would all go together. Yulian seemed to resign himself, because he had nothing left to do, but he had decided that night that the next day he would leave alone. His uncle would find a way to hitch up his troika and send his wife and children. At dawn, when he was hitching the dogs to the cart, his aunt woke up to the noise and, thinking that her nephew was getting ready to take them, grumbled, My son, it's too early for us to go. Forgive me, Annie, but you won't go with me this time. I want the children to stay here for at least 2 more days. Pavel wouldn't understand. I can't take him with me. Arma needs me, not them. You understand, Annie. Besides, my wagon is too small for your large luggage. Indeed, he was right. His aunt had packed suitcases and bags, as if she were going to spend a long time at his house. Yulian took advantage of this to ask her if her wagon would follow, while he would go ahead, carrying some of his own suitcases. A servant would drive her, accompanied by the children, in a more comfortable wagon. Please don't wake the children yet. Let me go alone. I beg you, Aunt. Seeing his distress, she agreed. Okay, Yulian, I have to agree with you. I'll wait for you. Dear Aunt, after 2 days, explained to the boys and uncle, I've never seen anyone so desperate to leave. One said, soon after, to her husband that, without, 8 in the Russian and Greek church, a painted image of the figure of Christ, the Virgin, or a saint. Ed. Note. 9 in Russia, a large carriage or sleigh drawn by 3 horses in pairs. Ed. Note. Understand nothing. Just heard the noise of the horses already on the road. What's gotten into him? Olga? I don't know. He wanted to continue my journey in 2 days. This Yulian is as crazy as my late brother. Of all of them, he is the one who has shown the most eccentricities. Later, when the boys woke up, they were in a commotion to learn that their father had left in the early hours of the morning without taking them. Pavel cried, but Yulian was delighted with his father's decision, despite how much he missed his mother. 2 days later, a new caravan set off on its journey. Lulian instigated the animals to buy time. He and Arma needed to find a way. They were reaching the end of their plan and had to make coherent and quick decisions. His aunt's presence in his house completely changed his plans. For the birth, Anna was startled to see her husband arrive alone. "Why didn't you bring the children, Yulian?" Yulian briefly told him about his aunt's visit in 2 days. "My Saint Nicholas, we have to find a quick solution, woman. What if the child is born prematurely? No one can say for sure when the pregnancy occurred. The only solution they could think of at the time was to bring the baby forward. Little Mayra, despite her small stature, didn't even look premature. The mother and her daughter would stay in the room, in the shadows, following the doctor's advice, and their aunt wouldn't suspect anything. Yulia and Aunt Olga will insist on taking care of the baby and bathing him. In 2 days, the umbilical cord still hasn't fallen off, and soon she'll suspect something. I can give her the bath instead. Why not? She would never accept it. As if you didn't know her." At that moment, little Nicholas woke up and Julian ran to him, hugging and kissing him. "10, how are you? You woke up early. Come and meet your little sister." My Bachuka, the boy, upon seeing the little girl, thought she was a toy. He raised his hand to touch her, and at this gesture, the girl cried. Hearing her, he too began to cry in fright. Yulian took him away, while Arma calmed Mayra. Mayra, from that moment on, was born her brothers, and that was the end of the secret. When Aunt Olga arrived, Yulian was sitting on the doorstep, smoking a cigar. The house was profoundly silent. The noise of the boys, mixed with the barking of the dogs, broke his concentration. They held out their arms to him and shouted, "Dad, Dad." "Oh, why didn't you bring me?" Pavel complained. "Where is it? Mammy Anchka." "You can't see her. She's sleeping, and you just gained a sister." There was general admiration. "What? I want to see her." "Oh, how wonderful!" exclaimed Yulian, jumping for joy in his father's lap. 10-1, Daddy. In popular language, it is applied to one's own father or to people whom one wishes to treat with consideration and affection at the same time. Ed, note, 11, Daddy. N of the spiritual author. 12, Mommy. N of the spiritual author. Aunt Olga was shocked by the unexpected news because, according to him, the baby would be born next month. "How was it, my son? Where's the midwife?" "She started having pain the same day I arrived. I was guessing, Annie, it was because of the baby's birth. I think our Arma got the date wrong. There wasn't time to call anyone. I couldn't leave her alone with Nicolau. Poor thing. I'll go see her. She's sleeping now, Aunt Olga. It's best to let her rest." Olga entered the izba. The stove kept her warm, while he helped the employee unload the troika full of her aunt's trunks. Anna's bedroom door was closed. Aunt Olga forced it open. Anna was pretending to be asleep. She entered silently, approached the bed, and saw the little girl who, by chance, also seemed to be asleep. "What a beautiful little thing," she exclaimed compassionately. The small window was closed, and the room was lit only by a candle lit for St. Nicholas, allowing her to see only what she needed. Then she left, closing the door carefully so as not to wake them. Seeing her leave, Anna stirred in bed. "Whatever God wants. Lies always have short legs," she muttered to herself. Then she fell into a deep, true sleep. There was always an excuse for the aunt to stay away from the little girl, and the couple was so dedicated to this task that several days went by without her participating in the bath or seeing the naked girl. Yulian would task her with lighting the samovar and making Anna's favorite tea. Other times, they would divert her, asking her to attend to little Nicholas, who was crying for his mother. Thus, the minimum time for the navel to finally fall off was over. Aunt Olga could no longer resist her curiosity, and even complained, "Can't I be comfortable with my great niece? Oh, today is my day to bathe Mayra." Anna stood up, frightened. "Auntie, please, you're already helping me with the housework. The children are demanding. Leave me with Mayra. You'll still have plenty of time ahead of you. Look, I'm fine, very fine." Her aunt was amazed at her niece's energy. She didn't even look like she'd given birth. The greatest danger had passed, and, Thanks to her parents' tricks, Mayra left her room for the first time. The girl is very developed. She doesn't look like anyone in our family. Who exactly does she take after? Asked the aunt. It's still early. Only time will show us what he truly looks like, Yulian grumbled, puffing on a cigar. Life went on as normal. Pavel, however, was not satisfied. He looked at his sister with hostility, and his presence disturbed her, causing her to cry loudly. Anna pushed him away. 5 and a night of happiness. An unexpected fact, however, changed everything. Arma began to feel different. She woke up with bouts of nausea, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't stop herself from vomiting. No food remained in her stomach. She ate little, and no matter how hard she tried, sudden weakness and dizziness overcame her. Aunt Olga, he decided not to return home until she was well. His niece's health required serious attention. How could he care for the house and the newborn when she herself needed care and rest? A neighbor arrived and, seeing Anna, was frightened. Are you sick, Anna? I've never seen you so pale. I've been feeling very nauseous. I didn't know you were pregnant. I confess, you were so thin 4 months ago, and now you're still losing weight. Aren't you sick after all? The constant work doesn't even let me gain weight. Children demand a lot, by the way. Mrs. Krovsosky, don't you know of a young lady nearby who could come and help me for a while? The good woman promised to send someone. The experienced old woman, before leaving, gave her an interesting warning. Anna, listen to me. Could this nausea of yours be a new pregnancy? What are you saying? My little Mayra was born just a week ago. She's a beautiful girl. It doesn't even seem like she was born a week ago. You didn't make a mistake about the date? Aunt Olga was participating in the conversation from afar, already very intrigued and glancing sideways at her nephew's wife. Determined, she joined the conversation. You're right. This nausea is very strange. Maybe Mrs. Kravsosky isn't right. These things happen. The 2 old women began to remember similar cases. Mothers who breastfed and became pregnant without realizing it. Impossible, exclaimed Arma. The doctor? She almost told them that she could no longer get pregnant and have children. What's wrong with the doctor? Continue. No, nothing. I forgot. She was red and very embarrassed. But a slight worry began to form like a cloud in her brain. Could I be pregnant? What if she was right? She couldn't tell them that the doctor had told her she couldn't have any more children. There was no need to remind her of this, because Aunt Olga did. It's strange that my niece got pregnant. Only by the mercy of Jesus Christ. Do you remember, Arma, when the doctor told you that you couldn't have any more children? Doctors make mistakes. Can't you see our little daughter? Olga was intrigued by that unexpected pregnancy and the sudden birth. But how would the child have come about if it wasn't really their daughter? She could count the months since she'd last seen Anna, unable to come to a concrete conclusion. She'd give up on the matter and eventually forget, caught up in her chores and the children. But her intuition told her something was wrong. The girl was developing too quickly. She didn't look like a newborn. They always avoided each other, and Olga didn't want to press the issue. However, the truth soon became clear. Anna was pregnant. There was no denying it. All that was missing was a medical diagnosis. The new pregnancy left Yulian and Anna perplexed. They hadn't expected this news. The couple were now whispering in their room. How did this happen, Matuchka? Since you found the little one, I haven't had the signal anymore. Yulian, do you remember the day Mayra arrived, that night of such happiness? Yulian made a mischievous expression as he remembered that magical night for him, and he embraced his wife, kissing her. His Anna was becoming more and more beautiful. If her pregnancy were confirmed, instead of 1 child, they would have 2 and remain happy. We need to confirm your pregnancy, Matuchka. Tomorrow we will look for the doctor in the city. No need, Yulian, I feel pregnant. I just hadn't realized it. Busy with work and the baby. It's true. Her husband was beside himself with joy. But this pregnancy changed everything. He remembered the doctor telling him, she won't be able to have any more children. It will be fatal. Anna, I'm very confused, and my thoughts are all jumbled. I fear for you. Let's think about this tomorrow. Sleep will help us. Tomorrow I'll know what to do. Before they went to bed, he suspiciously looked at his wife's belly, feeling it. It was incredible. Little Mayra grumbled in her crib, and he ran to her. He was so happy with his little daughter, but the arrival of a new child didn't make him happier. His head was full of questions, and he tried to calm down and sleep. His sleep was disturbed by bad premonitions. Anna was losing weight instead of gaining weight. She woke up with bouts of nausea and wasn't eating enough. She was weak and pale. Aunt Olga would stay with Mayra and the boys, while Anna went to the doctor. The sooner they resolved the new problem, the better. Fortunately, Yulian had saved up some money to buy a reindeer because he remembered how much he had spent on his wife's treatment when she was pregnant with Nicholas. He still remembered the doctor's strict recommendations. They decided to hide the girl's birth from the doctor. Dr. Boris was an elderly doctor who lived in the village, and his office was as old as he was. They sat in the worn-out armchair while they waited to be seen. After examining Anna, the doctor looked at the couple gravely. He confirmed that she was 3 months pregnant and warned them the risk they were running. He then invited Yulian to an adjoining room and explained in detail the risk to his wife's life. If they were to continue the pregnancy, the best course of action would be to remove the fetus. My God, has it come to this, Dr. Boris? Yes, Yulian, it's very serious to insist on the pregnancy. She gave you 3 beautiful children. Be content with them. I would like to tell her about Mayra, but her secret had to be absolute. I know my weapon. She would never agree. My duty is to alert them and communicate to them the danger of this pregnancy. As for the responsibility, it will be up to the couple. I can't decide this alone. If something happens to you, I'll never forgive myself, Dr. Boris. Let's talk to Anna. She's strong and will know what to do. Anna, upon seeing them, immediately realized something was wrong, just by Yulian's expression. The news fell like a fiery arrow upon the patient. I will never have an abortion. I would rather die, but my child will be born. She was red, excited. Yulian was right. His Anna was the bravest woman he knew. The doctor still tried to convince her, but his irritation prevented him from arguing anything. He prescribed homeopathic medicines and gave them precise recommendations. The 3-month pregnancy actually coincided with Mayra's age. 6 peaceful days. Anna had become pregnant the night the baby was found. That night, for the couple, especially for Yulian, was unforgettable. His happiness was so great that he surrendered himself to his wife's arms in a way he hadn't done in a long time. Mayra, for him, was a piece of heaven entering his home. The couple walked back home, unsure whether to laugh or lament their situation. They chatted along the way, gazing at the landscape that was already beginning to be covered in snow, in some spots, heralding a long winter ahead. I'd rather die 1,000 times than take my son away, his poor Anna whimpered. Let's not talk about this anymore, my love. Everything will work out. Let's trust in God's providence. Nothing will happen to us. Didn't God send us a daughter? If he allowed you to get pregnant, it's because we're going to have another baby. 5 children isn't the number I dreamed of. I wish we had 10 children, Anna. You're crazy, man. That's because you're not the one carrying them, breastfeeding them, or changing their diapers.